What's up, everybody? It is Broman, and it's time for Ask Broman. It's crazy. We're live on Twitch right now, twitch.tv/Professor Broman, which is where we record this all the time. It is Friday, December 15th. Right now, it's around like 6 p.m. Feels good, man. Fridays are great. I'm a big fan of Fridays because they are like every other day of the week, which means you woke up this morning and life's good. So, yeah, without further ado, we don't have a guest today. But I have heard your feedback. For those of you who are listening later, I know you guys like us having guests. I will try and continue to bring on as many guests as I can because it's always a good time. And it means less talking for me, and I'm selfish like that. But for now, let's fucking get into it. Hey, hello, this is Car Ramrod. How are you doing today, sir and or madam?
I am doing very well. How about yourself?
So clearly it's a madam, guys. I'm fucking around. I'm fucking around. How are you, man? What can I do for you today?
I'm doing okay, but as of late, whenever I am streaming, I am getting frustrated, I guess.
Frustrated? All right, fair.
Yes. With streaming, OBS is such a fickle thing because
software's tough to deal with. Yeah,
and it just upsets me because like I'm sitting here doing a good stream on Destiny, and then all of a sudden my kilobytes bitrate tanks and everything, and then it affects me, and I don't like it.
Yeah. Okay. So what's your question there? How do you deal with technical problems?
Yeah, how do you deal with technical problems, and how do you just like not let it affect you in a way that just makes you wish you weren't streaming at all?
Sure. I mean, well, I have had, a lot of technical issues after I moved. I spent a solid 2 months of having what I would call a really subpar tech experience after my move. And I mean, the real issue, I guess, that that you have control over is your attitude, right? Ultimately, what I ended up doing was, I just made it into a fucking joke. That's how I deal with everything. I just fucking make it all humorous, and I'm like, oh yeah, fucking Comcast decides that 2% of this stream is too spicy for you right now, so they're taking your frames away. Like I deal with everything with humor, so that's what I do. I'm grateful. This was the other thing, and this. I mean, both of these things take a long time. It's hard work, but you have to be grateful for the fact that you're broadcasting at all, right? Like you have to get really grateful. Like the problems are always going to happen. Shit's always going to get in your way. Shit's always going to break. Nothing's ever perfect. So just taking it as an experience to say, all right, well, shit's broken and I'm going to do what I can. I know it's hard, when you have thousands of people screaming at you that your shit's broke, but you have to realize that the reason people are getting upset isn't because they hate you. It's because they love you so much and they can't get enough of whatever it is that you're doing. It's all about having the right perspective.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then my other question is, a lot of times when I am streaming, it is 100% dead in my chat.
Sure.
What is some advice you could give me, like when it's dead, because people trickle in and you don't always see them.
Yeah.
And then if you aren't interactive or anything, what is something that you could give me advice on doing, just in case someone does comment, because I have a hard time.
Always be talking, man. Always be talking. It's a live medium and you never know who's going to be there. Just narrate your own gameplay, talk to yourself. Mm-hmm. That's the most important thing is, when no one's there, you have to act like someone's there. And even like when you're really established, you can have, you can go to chat rooms sometimes that have like 5,000 people watching and not a lot of people are talking. for one reason or another. It's not a channel size thing. Sometimes people are just busy. Like Twitch is becoming in the 5 years I've been on Twitch, I have noticed Twitch becoming a much more passive consumption medium, meaning like folks are turning Twitch on to listen and watch, not listen, watch, and chat, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
They're here to like experience community, talk to people, have a good time, but they don't want to do that 100% of the time. They just want to chill out and they just want to watch some streams.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to realize that you have to be okay with it.
Yeah.
Right. As a streamer, you have to realize that not everybody who watches you wants to talk all the time. Plenty of people lurk in streams, which is, that's what it's on Twitch. If you're listening, people that are consuming your content and don't like necessarily actively interact, they're called lurkers. But Twitch is a really interesting space in that dimension, because on YouTube, the comments come after the fact. On Twitter, the comments come after the fact. Everywhere, every other form of medium, when you're getting feedback, it is always after you're done producing the content. And then it's like, okay, well, now it's time to let this out in the world and see how it goes. But on Twitch, everything is live. So it's a unique space. And I think it's really, there's something to be said about thinking about Twitch the same way that you would think about YouTube to adjust your perspective. People don't tune in to a YouTube channel to like leave comments. Like the percent of people that watch a video and the percent of people that leave a comment on a video is like, there's such a disparity between those two numbers. You could have a video with 100,000 views and 200 comments, So you have to think about it that way too. You got to get away from this whole concept of if no one's talking, then nobody gives a shit. This is something that I've seen a lot recently, kind of on my Twitter feed. Folks are like, oh, I'm signing off and I say goodbye to everybody and no one's talking back. And then I get mad and I'm like, well, just say goodbye and then get offline. It doesn't mean that they hate you or anything like that. You can't have your pride and you can't feel like the quality of your content is so wrapped up in how many people are directly engaging with it at that moment. It's obviously something you need to work on, but in that day to day, like in the grind of doing things and doing them well, focusing on numbers and interactivity isn't going to put you in a positive mindset that's going to help you win long term.
Okay. All right. Those were the only really two questions that I had that I wanted to pick your brain about.
Yeah, sure. Do you have any other follow-up questions?
Not that I can think of, but I do follow you on Twitter, so if I can think of anything, I will make sure.
Yeah,
to
you can always hit me up on Twitter or Instagram DMs or Facebook message, whatever. I try and check all those things at least once a day, man.
Okay.
Sure.
Right.
You have a good one, dude.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Like getting used to interactivity. If you're doing a live medium, it's hard. I mean, Twitch is still in a lot of ways, like live streaming is still in a lot of ways incredibly new. Even on the internet, live streaming in particular is unique because even though there's analogs for other styles of content, there really hasn't been, at least for the format of Twitch, a good analog in traditional media for it. Think about it. Like you don't go to a theater expecting to watch a live performance of Hamlet and then expecting to talk to the cast the entire time that you're in there, or any theater for that matter. The only thing that even comes close to what Twitch is like is improvisational comedy. So it's really interesting to sit there and think about how you may think that you know how things are supposed to work, but in a lot of ways, like, we're all still figuring it out. No matter like what type of live streaming or live content you do, everyone is still just figuring it out. And you have to be okay with, being a little bit uncomfortable more often than not. Let's get this guy. This is Effin Stefan. How are you?
Hey, what's up, man?
Fine human being, you.
I am doing amazing.
Excellent, man.
I'm all right today.
Not every day's best day. What can I do for you?
Yeah, I hear you, man. So, I had a couple questions, but I mean, today is just one of those like shit days, and that brings another question over to for me to ask you. And
Sure.
it's like,
Yeah. You having a shitty day?
yeah, if you're having a bad day or something, and it's like one of those days where you just feel like washing your mouth out with buckshot after you start a shotgun.
I understand. Yeah. I too am one that gets incredibly frustrated.
So in a day like that, when you know you got to do like a show or do a stream or something, is there anything you do to like just try to swallow it and like put on a fake fucking smile and with it?
Being fake is hard. And I don't really recommend it. But I understand where your question's coming from. So this is my, I guess, thought or like the process that I go through, right? It takes some doing. Like you have to get used to, I guess, eating shit or swallowing your pride or your feelings or whatever. But it doesn't have to be this like self-deprecating process of like you're denying yourself, because I think that's the way a lot of people think about it. I just want to feel this way right now, and I need to deny that part of myself and not feel that way. And then just, suck it up, fake it, and put on a smile. So that's one way to look at it, right?
Right.
The other way to look at it, and this is what I try and do, is instead of feeling like you're denying yourself, you can look at it like you're giving something to someone else, right? As shitty as your day might be, as hard of a time as you might be having, there's probably somebody out there that's having a worse time than you. And that's not, most of the time when people say that, they're like, so suck it up, Nancy, and fucking deal with your feelings.
Right.
It's not like that. This is an internal perspective where you're saying, I know I'm having a shit day, but someone else out there is maybe having it worse, and I want to make their day better.
All right.
Right?
Yeah, I see what you're
That's
going
what
at.
that's the way I try and look at everything. And it's amazing what that perspective shift can do for you. Just saying like, you know what? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give 110%, even though I don't feel my best, because I know that it might take somebody out of the place that I am in right now. And in doing that, like in elevating someone else, right, and trying to bring somebody else up, you end up bringing yourself along for the journey.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. Making someone else feel better will fucking make you feel like 10 times better.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really, the other thing is, with all social media, I think a lot of people tend to tend to take the perspective that like, oh, my Twitter feed is like my journal. That shit's permanent, right? Like you got to remember that whatever you're putting out there right now, like I'm going to have to explain to my grandkids why I told some troll in 2015 to go fuck themselves because that video is online, right? Like my kids will be able to ask me like, Daddy, how come you told this guy to go fuck themselves? Isn't that a bad word? All this other stuff. And, I have a logical underpinning for all that stuff, so I'm ready for that conversation. But, it's so important to be able to turn off and go talk to someone else as well. That's the other side of this.
Yeah.
Is, having friends and family or whoever that is close to you and that you can talk to when you're having a shit day, so you don't end up just dumping everything online, is important.
Right.
Get
it out of your system.
Get it out of your system. Talk to somebody, talk to your friends, get it out there.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, man. For sure.
Yeah. And drink a shit ton of fucking beer. No,
drink some. I mean, listen, if drinking makes you feel better, do it. For me, if I'm in a bad mood and I start drinking, it just makes my mood worse.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm definitely that guy. It's like a magnifying glass. Like if I'm having a great day and I start drinking, it's a perfect day. If I'm having a bad day and I start drinking, it's the worst day of my life. Like that's just how I am, and I know that about myself.
Right.
It doesn't turn things around for me.
Yep.
But that's just me though. Like for some folks, having a drink or whatever the fuck that calms you down and gets you in a better mindset, I totally understand that.
Oh, damn dog. Sorry about that.
Dude, don't worry about it. I got doggos too. What kind of dogs do you have?
I got a couple pits.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Logan is our older dog. He's 13. He's a pit mix. He's like the sweetest boy. That's cool, man. You got
Awesome.
You got any follow-up questions?
Yeah, well, okay, so if I didn't have a shit day today, I was going to ask you about,
Well, that's good. I mean, you asked a question that is probably going to provide a lot of fucking insight for anyone who listens to this forever. So I am happy, right, that you decided to ask that question. I'm sorry you had a shit day, but know that there's a lot of good that's going to come out of it.
Fuck yeah. Awesome.
Fuck yeah,
I hope other people, get something out of that as well. And I'm sure
yeah,
they
man.
will. But so what I was really originally going to ask, I do a few different things, but there are things that like I do a podcast and shit where we review movies and stuff.
Cool.
And so I can isolate my time and get quiet instead of but like I'm a dad of 3, right? And my son, he's the middle child. He's 5 years old. He's severely autistic with nonverbal and shit like that.
Oh, he's nonverbal.
But,
That's rough, man.
Well, like he doesn't talk, but he's very verbal. He makes lots of noises.
Oh no, yeah. I used to do in-home care, right?
Yeah.
We had a guy that he was a really sweet guy. He was nonverbal, but yeah, he'd get pretty loud sometimes, spontaneously.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yep. I feel you.
Yeah, but so like when I'm like streaming like that, when I'm like I'll throw on Twitch just for the fun of it, you know. I'm not expected to fucking be like you or anything, you know what I'm saying? I just kind of do it.
You can if you
after
want.
work, stream, bullshit with some guys, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But is that when I'm streaming, I don't care if my kid is like and comes up and runs on my lap and starts playing and shit like that, and I'll let him sit on my lap and whoop. Is that something like that's looked frowned upon, you know what I'm saying?
No, I don't think that's frowned upon. I mean, it's real life. I think that people appreciate those moments when the show goes away, right?
Okay.
And the show going away can be it can be a super positive moment for your stream, or it can be incredibly negative, you know? Like it all depends on how you sell it and, you know, how authentic it is to who you are. So you're a dad of 3 and you have a son who is autistic, who has autism, and the fact that he's going to interrupt your stream and whatever the fuck is a normal part of your life. And if it's a normal part of your life, it's totally fine if it's a normal part of your stream. I know it might be frustrating. Like maybe he has some bad timing. I'm sure he does. Right. Like, which is like, that's just how it is. But it's okay. And I think people will, you know, I think that's understanding, and ultimately it's endearing, you know?
Right. Shows people are fucking people, right?
It shows the people that are people. I mean, that's one of the joys of live streaming, and I think that's one of the reasons why people really like it, is there's this authenticity about it. And, you know, like any point in time, my dog could just come barking up my stairs and, like, you know, clobber me, you know, knock me off my chair or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get mad about that. You know, it's authentic. It's part of my life and what makes me me. And your son is part of your life and what makes you who you are.
Right.
So it's not frowned upon or anything like that.
Right.
If you're doing something shitty like, oh, look at my son, he's got a disability, now give me money, that would be frowned upon. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
that would be something that folks would have.
That whole Keaton Jones thing, like that
exactly. You never, like, you just never know, man. And so I think as long as you're being authentically yourself and those moments are spontaneous, which of course they are. I know the life that you live. I have a lot of empathy for you.
Don't.
Oh, no, man. Seriously, like you need to understand, and you're probably not told enough, but you're an absolute hero, and you do a lot for your family that probably goes unnoticed by everyone else except them. But if I could take a moment and tell you, like, you're awesome and you kick ass and you're great and you put up with a ton of shit, and I appreciate you for doing that and being a good person and coming on here and asking good questions instead of just bitching about your life, which you would be totally validated to do. You know, thank you. You know.
Oh man,
seriously.
You're gonna make me choke up a little bit here.
I'm not trying to do that. I'm just
But,
I'm being honest, my friend.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. It's great to hear. Thanks, man.
Hey.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for
But,
being a good dad.
Speaking of kids, I got to go pick one of them up from school. Actually,
Yeah,
right now,
man.
I'm glad you got me on here pretty early.
Anytime, dude. Thank you so much. Do you
Right
want to tell
on.
everyone like about your podcast, where they can find you really quick? I know you got to run.
Oh yeah, sure. So the podcast, we review movies and stuff. That's you can find us on like Stitcher, Podbean. Will be iTunes again. Some shit happened with the explicit lyrics or explicit
Sometimes.
language. So it's the Red on You. Red on You is one word podcast. And,
Okay, Red on You. All right.
Yep. And then you can find me on
RED or READ?
RED. Like
Right,
you've got Red on You.
like the color red.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it's from Shaun of the Dead thing. Anyways,
I got you. I need to watch that movie again. Cool.
and then I'm on Twitch at F and Stefan.
F and Stefan. EFFINSTEPHAN. F and Stefan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then if you're into music and shit, I do a thing on Friday nights at mixler.com/weirdsciencedc. You can find us tonight at 4 in about 45 minutes after I get my kid.
Cool, dude.
Play a lot of punk music and ska if you want to come hang out and listen
Hey,
to
punk
that
and ska's great. I'm a big fan.
shit. Hell yeah.
That's awesome,
But again, I got to go. Thanks a lot, bro. I appreciate
man.
we're awesome.
Thank you, dude. I hope your day gets a lot better.
Oh, I'm sure it will. Have a
Cool,
good one,
dude.
man.
But what a fucking champion of a human being. What a fucking champion. He's a good guy. Good guy, chat. Man, family life balance is a question that comes up a lot. We're gonna have to get some folks that are dads or moms on the podcast and talk about that at some point in the future. You know, because it is something a lot of people deal with, and I am not an individual who has a kiddo. But I'd like to bring folks on so that way you guys can get answers, guys and gals can get answers to those kinds of questions when it comes to the content creation world and such. This guy's been in here since the start, so let's grab Of Ninja Actions, which is a very interesting name. It's more like a sentence. What's up?
Hello, Broman.
Hello, Ninja. How are you?
I am good. Interesting that you pointed out my name. It is more of a sentence.
It's
like
it is more of a sentence, my guy. Yeah,
I know. It's pretty much a mouthful, but I like the idea of it came from, you know, you're streaming when you're streaming like full time, you're streaming all the time, and you're not always great at games, and then sometimes you'll hit like a big play, and everybody's like, oh,
yeah, exactly.
And so like the whole point of it was like Of Ninja Actions, like this is the channel, and then sometimes you catch those moments of Ninja Actions.
I see. I get it. I like it.
I like it too. I'm not gonna lie. It's a mouthful, and I learned later that underscores were not like the greatest, but it's like, oh well.
Yeah, whatever, man. Roll with what you got. I respect it.
So
what can I do
the
for
question
you?
the question I had was, so especially like today, there's that reel of like all the money that was raised on Twitch for charity, which is super awesome.
Yeah.
Like that is such a good thing, and people underrate that a lot. I feel like
$25 million last year on Twitch was raised for various charities. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And I feel like that's underrated a lot by people that don't play games. Like, oh, they're just doing their thing. And it's just video games, and people don't understand. That's like, no, that's actually like a fuck ton of people doing good shit.
It is. It's great.
Yeah. So my question is, you have a lot of people that are out there, and like not all of them are involved with charity streams, but like if let's say X random guy wants to raise money for charity.
Yeah.
How would you recommend that they go about vetting charities that they want to raise money for?
All right. So starting from zero with a charity, the first thing you need to do is you need to contact the charity and say, hey, I want to do a fundraiser with you on Twitch. When's a good time to set up a phone call? Their answer to that question will probably tell you how to proceed. If they say, what's Twitch? You've got your work set out for you. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means that you're going to have an interesting, you'll have to do some education on their end. Some red flags or some points of education that you really need to make sure you bring to them right from the beginning is you need to explain to them like that, just it's hard, but you'll need to make sure they have things like a PayPal account, so that you can accept donations, without them going through your personal account, which would of course be bad because it makes you look like you're making more money than you know.
Yeah.
All this other just legal bullshit. So that's the best step one is to just reach out. Step two, unlike when I got started doing charity broadcasting and stuff, there are really, really great platforms for charity and fundraising now. One of them is called Tiltify. It's what we use for GuardianCon. They are getting better and better at working with the various charities of any sort or type. They're constantly adding new charities to their register. So any charity on there is already going to know what you're doing and can focus more on supporting supporting and advertising your efforts on Twitch instead of trying to explain to their user base and their donor base, hey, so this is a thing, it's video games, and they're terrible, I know they're bad, but look, this one's good, he's doing a good thing. It's tough.
Right.
But those would, like, the best step would be contact them via email, find out where they're at as far as their understanding of how Twitch works. I feel like Twitch has really started to get a lot of momentum in the charity space. People are starting to pay attention because ridiculous ass shit is happening. Like, when we won Best New Charity for GuardianCon at St. Jude, we got to go there and we had an awards ceremony and all that shit. Was like, woohoo, yay, neat. But to me, the big takeaway was when we were working with St. Jude at first, we kept hearing these words from them. It's just so revolutionary what you're doing. It's like so different. And I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, fucking stop blowing smoke up my ass, because I'm very averse to flattery.
Yeah.
Like
even if you're doing good things, you get a compliment and you're just like, but I know this thing that I could have done better. So I don't
exactly.
Feel like
so I'm focused on
even
that.
If they are,
and then we sat down and we sat through the awards ceremony, and it was like there are 3 main types of events that they do, and what we were doing on Twitch was so unbelievably different than everything else that was a part of it. That is when I was like, holy shit, this is what these people mean. Like when they say like this could be a future for fundraising for us, they're talking about adding a 4th fundraising style to the 3 that they have established. It's a really big deal. And taking time out of your day or your week or whatever to educate a charity might not be something you have to do in like 2 or 3 years. You might just have, your 1 or 2 things that you do.
Like when they start a new charity, they'll just automatically start working.
They'll look at Twitch first.
Here's your here's your platforms for like meetups, and then here's your Twitch package, and then this is what you need to do to get it set up with these guys.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the groundwork is going to be done for you, hopefully. Hopefully you'll just be able to have
the game.
Well, I mean, me and everyone else.
Well, not you. I mean, basically we fucking changed the game.
As gamers on Twitch.
We added Twitch to charity.
Yeah, exactly.
Sick.
Exactly. And so do you have for me to follow up with you, do you have a charity that you're concerned or looking at, concerned with, or that's not the right fucking word. You have a charity you want to work with right now, bud? That's Jesus shit.
No. Yeah. I don't stream. I just watch and try to hang out. I might stream in the one day maybe, but not anytime soon. So no, not really. I was you answered my question. You took my question a different way, which was super interesting and useful.
Okay.
The question I was asking, I was how do you know if let's say a charity is a piece of shit, basically?
Well,
you
okay. So there's
charity.
There's so the other thing, and I was going to follow up with this. When you're raising money online in particular, you need to do a good job vetting. Which Charity Navigator is great. It's just a website. You can go to Charity Navigator. I think it's .org, and they'll tell you, they'll expense out percent wise, each charity dollar. This is the percent that goes to this and that.
That's a fucking great tool.
Yeah, so Charity Navigator is really good. The other thing, and I'll say this specifically for anybody who's interested in doing fundraising online, The internet is a vicious place. The internet is a place that does not take bullshit. So
It's
you
not
need
safe.
to select the charities that you want to work with very carefully, because you are aligning yourself with them. And if that charity is shit, it's going to be hard. And the other thing I want people to do when they fundraise online is you need to make sure that the charity you're working with has enough basic knowledge, okay, that you actually just get out there and fundraise. Because if they don't have public awareness, your entire campaign is going to be educating people about what the hell this charity does
doing in the first
instead
place.
of fundraising. And see, the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to do an education campaign on Twitch, I think it's incredibly effective. I've been involved in one that I can remember right now. So that's great. But if your goal is to raise as much money as possible, picking an established charity is incredibly important. And it needs to be one that has a goal that is universally acceptable. For example, saving children from cancer. Awesome. Everybody wants to save kids from cancer. But when you start to get into issues that are hot button political issues, or issues that can be viewed as you taking a side on a thing, that can really inhibit your ability to grow as a charity or as an event. Not to say that all those other charities don't have value, but trying to find place, especially online, working with things that are value neutral, that help everybody, no matter where they live in the world, what they believe personally, or what their political affiliation is, those things are going to lead to the greatest amount of success. And that's one of the reasons why we picked St. Jude for Guardian Con, because they are an international charity that knows no political or religious affiliation. Everyone can go there. And that is one of the reasons why Guardian Con has been successful, is because we, did that with an intentional viewpoint. Yeah. How's that for answering your question?
That's fucking sick.
Sweet.
You have a sweet ass fucking place. Like that basically you just give me not me, but you gave I had a question of how do I find out which one of these people are pieces of shit? And then you just okay, here's a tool that tells you exactly where everybody's money is going.
Yeah, the tool is good. Charity Navigator is fantastic.
Absolutely.
It's definitely underutilized by people. So please check out Charity Navigator if you're interested in working with any charity at all ever.
And if you're not interested in going and finding a new person, then you can just go on Tiltify, because they're probably fine, right?
Yeah, if a charity is represented on Tiltify, they have been pretty thoroughly vetted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. You pretty much answered it with Tiltify. I was like, oh, that sounds like they vet their people and then they present them to people who want to raise money for them.
Exactly.
So there you go. Awesome.
Yeah.
So flip 180 back to if you don't mind me asking another question, that'll probably lead into another couple minutes.
That's fine. You can go right ahead, my guy.
Yeah, flipping right back onto focusing on more of your own stream. How do you vet developers that you're gonna work with for maybe new games, or people maybe they already are established and you want to jump in with them, or they want you to jump on board?
Oh, I would do the same thing. I would do some research. Twitter's a great tool for working with developers.
Sure.
You can literally go to Google and you say, who is the community manager of X? And you can go to Twitter, Instagram, wherever, find them and review their posts to see how they talk about things, how they talk about their product. It's really easy to figure out if developers have a support structure around their game where people believe in that game, or if they are just there for a paycheck. And I would stay away from developers where it seems like the support structure for the game, i.e., community development and social interaction, social media management, isn't really bought into that game, because it's usually a bad sign.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. If they're that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, social media is an incredible tool for finding out, what's actually going on behind the scenes anywhere, if you're willing to take the 10 minutes and look.
Right. Yeah, definitely. They put it's there forever, so you can just go have a look.
Exactly, it's there forever.
That about does it. Thanks, Broman.
Hey, thank you very much, Ninja Actions. You want to let these people know where they can like find you on the internet?
You
If
can
you're
find me at
interested.
the mouthful of a name of _ninja_actions on Twitch, Twitter, and that's about it. I don't stream or YouTube yet, but you'll probably see me in all of your Destiny chats if you are part of that community.
Fantastic, man. You have a good day.
You too, Broman.
All right, bye, man. Another thing you can check on the dev side is you can definitely check LinkedIn. I actually just got a LinkedIn account set up because I need to be more professional. So many social media things, guys, but you gotta be on all of them all the time. You gotta do that hard work. Man, picking a charity is incredibly important, guys. You always want to make sure you're working with somebody who like accurately represents values that you have, and is a charity that you're willing to align yourself with long term. I think that charities really appreciate it when you decide to work with them and then make them your charity of choice, as opposed to just hip hopping around and going to wherever you think like, oh, I'm a bunny rabbit, I'm going to chase after wherever the next carrot is. It's important. It's important. Let us check out another person here. There's been a lot of folks, little repeats. I'm trying to see if there's anyone else in here. Let's grab this guy. This is I am Atmo. I don't believe Atmo's been on before, but I think I've seen Atmo's name a lot. How you doing, bud? Uh-oh. Looks like Atmo's having some tech problems, so we'll let Atmo do the thing and figure that out, and we'll grab this person. This is Power GPU. See how Mr. GPU is doing.
What's going on, brother? How you?
Hi, I'm good.
Busy but good.
Oh, always busy, man. Love it.
Oh yeah, the busy life.
What can I do for you?
I mean, I have two questions. If you
Sure.
don't mind me asking. Well, one of them I've known you for a while. It's been a great community that you've been growing, and one of the questions I had for you was, I don't know if you remember, I started streaming back in like 2015. I think that's when Taken King came out.
Yeah.
It was around that area.
Mm-hmm.
And my second week of me actually starting officially streaming, you and I did a multi together.
Yeah, we did a raid together. I remember.
And we did though, and that's when Mom to Goal happened and all that stuff.
Yeah, I remember lots of good memes from our raid.
lots of good memes. My question to you was literally that same week. I streamed that same day for like 16 hours. The next, I got excited, of course, and that same week I just kept streaming. I kept pushing. That Friday I got invited by Streamer House TV to do another raid with them, and I streamed for another 16 hours. And I was just streaming a lot at the time. And at the time I just had my my daughter, and my son was just born, and I burnt myself out. And unfortunately, some stuff, the wife, of course,
Shit
just
happens,
got too much. Yeah, I got too much, and I literally stopped streaming after that. I called it, and I felt really bad about it for the community, because a lot of my viewers came from YouTube, and then of course you helped me out that as well. That was an amazing boost, confidence as well in streaming.
Yeah.
And I stopped for a whole year. So my question to you is, like, because now I've officially came back. Now it's been a whole year now officially, but this time I've actually learned to actually do a schedule, because at the time I didn't know that was that important at the time. But
yeah,
I sat down, I did a schedule, and now it's been officially 1 year now. And I've gotten to the point where now I have a community. My Discord has almost 500 members, and I have a bunch of streamers in that I've helped. And I don't know if you know this, but I've been helping a lot of streamers, I know you've been
helping a lot of people build PCs.
Yeah. So I help Wish You Luck, Lucky and Boat Wipe, My Name is Bife, a bunch of streamers. I've built 40 plus PCs for Destiny 2 for other big streamers. And my question to you is, I'm getting to that point again where I'm literally, building computers, doing tech support, streaming 40 plus hours a week, doing YouTube, doing Twitter, doing social media, trying to support as many streamers that I've been helping in the past, just by being in their stream, being active. And I tell myself, Power, you need to slow down. But then I always find myself getting back into the same routine where I'm constantly on Twitter. I'm constantly on, and it's getting to the point where I'm starting to realize it myself. My wife has told me, need to chill a little bit. I'm getting to that same point. So
do you feel like you want to slow down?
Well,
what do you want? Do you want to slow down or not?
I mean, that's the thing too. I mean,
that is where this whole thing starts, is your answer to that.
I mean, me personally, no. The community's been amazing. I mean, as you can see, there's some in here right now in the chat. It's been amazing. I see the growth. I see it happening. And me personally, I feel like if I stop now, I'm going to pretty much, fail the community. Like, I'm going to feel bad for the community that I've been building up for a year straight now.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So,
okay.
I don't know. My question to you,
they don't exist. Think about it like they don't exist. You don't have anyone to disappoint. Okay.
Yeah.
I know this is hard. It's a mental exercise. You don't have anyone to disappoint other than yourself. Like, what do you want to do? I
want to continue forward, but at the same time, I need to make sure my family's,
Yeah, no, exactly. Okay. So you have the perspective that you need, which is, this is you chasing your dream, which makes it really hard for you to want to do things like slow down.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So I get that, but what you need to do personally, in my opinion, is you need to balance your sheet, right? You have a set amount of time every day. You want to make sure you have X, Y, or Z things going on with your family, whether that's making sure you don't miss any sports games, making sure you spend an hour every night with your wife watching TV, going out to dinner, having date night, whatever. Yeah. You need to find out what those things are that have to happen, okay, for everyone, for your family to function, right? And then everything else outside of that time, dedicated to what you're doing.
Yeah, which I find myself doing that, and I guess, and I have a thing, and I tell myself this, and it's one of my rules, is that I answer all my DMs. Okay. Is one of my rules. And
it's a good practice.
It is, but with the whole PC thing now, like, I've helped over 400 people now, like, as far as just like answering questions or giving them tech support and stuff like that. And I watched your video on, you want to make sure you charge what what you're worth.
Yeah.
Type deal. And I started doing that, and it's still there, but I feel like I don't want to deny people as well. Like, I don't want to be like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm busy. I gotta charge you a certain amount for tech support or whatever, so on and so forth. So it's kind of like, that's another thing that's kind of involved in the whole situation.
It's difficult. Well, here's the thing. Like, when your time starts to come at a premium, like, that's the issue. Like, if you've got paying customers and then you've got, people who you're hitting up for free, like, I don't think anyone's mad if you take care of your paying customers first, right? And I that's important for building any business. Trying to put yourself out there on socials as much as you can and answering every single question that you possibly can is awesome. It's probably why you're doing so well, right? Because you've spent the time to invest in those other people. But understanding how to put a framework around that makes you successful and lets you to continue to be successful in what you're doing already is incredibly important as well. I'm all about devoting every single second that you possibly can every single day to grinding it out and answering every DM and things like that. But if it's going to negatively impact other goals that you have in your life, you need to figure out a way to, structure that and make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as like tech support, you've helped 400 people at this point. I mean, that's more than most small businesses. That's more clients than most small businesses that have a full set of employees do in a year, right? 400 customers for a small business of any type is a lot of fucking customers, especially if it's service based, which is what you're doing, right? Yeah. You need to understand that you are one person and you can do a lot.
I know. My wife tells me that all the time.
You can do a lot, but you have limits. So have you considered like getting an intern?
I can tell you right now, you actually, I have a lot of help in Discord from a lot of my admins and mods and stuff like that. And you actually spoke to one of them today, Car Ram Rod. He's one that's helped me out tremendously and directing people my way and telling him, hey, Power's busy today. He can't talk to you guys today. He'll get back to you as soon as possible. But no, I haven't thought about that yet. I guess I'm not, I feel like I'm not, I don't know. I feel like I'm not big enough yet to do something like that.
It sounds like you have a lot of other shit going on, and I'm going to have a follow-up question for you here. So you're doing all this tech support stuff, all of this computer building, all of this other shit, and I am confused, and maybe you can help me understand. Like, why are you doing that and streaming at the same time?
So
at the same level, like, do you just want to have both?
Well, like I've always been an entrepreneur since I've been a kid. I've always wanted to start businesses.
I believe it. It's obvious, yeah.
I was selling Pokemon cards and making money when I was, in fifth grade.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I started my own cutting grass business when I was 12. And, I love doing stuff like that. And I've always felt like I feel like I have to stay busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't just sit still. I always have to be, constantly doing stuff. And I want to pursue helping, as many streamers as I can and content creators. It's something I would love to do because I love helping people. I mean, but at the same time, I love streaming and I love playing games, and I love talking to people on a daily basis and seeing what their life was, or how their day was or their week is going or so on and so forth. So, I mean, I want to keep doing both, but at the same time, I know what you mean. It is because I'm still doing YouTube, and I just became the community manager for Storm Shield 1, which I don't think you've heard about that yet, but
nope.
So I'm doing a lot of stuff at the same time, but I see what you're saying. Are you saying that I should concentrate mainly on one and go from there? Or
I'm saying what I'm trying to say is you need to evaluate, because listen, I'm a big believer in that eventually you can build a structure around yourself where you can do everything. Okay. But there are limits to what you can do before you start having a support structure behind everything that you're doing. If you want to do what amounts to like 200 hours of work in a week, you need to hire people that are going to help you get that work done, even if it's for your personal brand, right? Prioritizing what's going to work makes sense. And then like also it's okay to put something aside to focus on growing one thing. And then once that is in its fully actualized state, you can come back to whatever thing one was. So for example, I just started a coffee company with the guys that I run GuardianCon with, right? Mm-hmm. I did not try and start that at the same time I started GuardianCon. Because you need to drill down and have the focus to build one thing and make sure it's built and then go on and build the next thing. When you're a one-man operation, you have to learn how to prioritize whatever is going to give you the most value and what's going to bring the most value to the people who you interact with on a daily basis. Because if you're trying to run around and do absolutely everything and you're doing it in a shitty way, all of the stuff, even the stuff you're incredibly good at, is going to suffer, and it's going to make you appear worse than you are, and that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I
could definitely cut back on hours on Twitch. I mean, I do 45.
or you can do things like I do, which I'm doing right now. Is I want to do podcast. So that I'd say, okay, well, I'm going to chop out a bunch of time from idea X, and I'm going to start doing idea Y. No, I like integrated things, right?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you're integrating the podcast. Well, and that's people have told me that too. They said, why don't you
see? Are you like, that's the thing is like, are you streaming your PC builds? Like, are you streaming your?
No. All my content is me helping do raids or trials or just playing Fortnite or people have asked me. I mean, I did an IRL stream with Lucky and Boy, helping build their machine. Mm-hmm. That was about it. But people have asked me to do that.
Yeah, I mean, like, why don't you?
I don't feel like that. Like, I feel like that's for my YouTube channel, so that's why I post all my videos there when I'm doing all my builds. Uh-huh. So I do videos. So when I do my builds, I post them on YouTube, and I send the clients the video footage as well, and they could post it on their Twitch link or whatever and show it to their community and show them who built it. But that's why I have YouTube at that point.
I mean, like here, the other thing is when you're trying to do everything, the other option is you need to integrate. That saves you time. If you were live streaming all of these builds while you were recording them to put them on YouTube, suddenly things that took two separate parts of your time, you take less. Like you have to get smart about it. Like that, you have to get creative to find the solutions that you have. If you're not going to hire people and you're not going to generate a time machine that makes more hours, you have to find a way to make your time and all of your activities work for yourself. And yeah, it's risky and it's different, but what I'm getting from all the questions that you're asking me right now is the way shit is right now is not working for you.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
And I sense it. So
yeah.
it is
So it's
there.
about to get really bad and you're about to lose again. And I don't want you to lose. I want you to win, which means you need to make some changes and you have to make some adaptations. So I would find ways to integrate your content so that you're killing two birds with one stone as much as you possibly can. And yeah, it'll be uncomfortable for like the first week and you'll be trying to figure it out and quality might dip. But then you're probably going to discover new things that you may not have been able to do before now that you're live streaming it, right? And then on the other side, you need to start, like, you need to really talk to, you know, your wife and your family, and you need to figure out what is working there.
Yeah.
Or isn't working.
I mean, she supports me, you know, she tells me all the time, but she gets, you know, she's happy for me, but at the same time, there's, I you know, you have that wife and you could read your wife's face. You could see like, yeah, I know you're happy for me, but at the same time, I know you kind of, I sense it. So
yeah,
definitely.
I mean, you're doing a lot of things. You're doing everything right, but you're burning yourself out, which just means it's time to refine what you're doing. That's a part of the process, you know, and that's, I know it's hard and it's scary and it sounds like you have like a real aversion to that, but you need to get really uncomfortable with making the changes that are necessary. Like if I was in your situation, I would be live streaming every PC build that I had. I would be linking the fuck out of every single part that I was using with an Amazon affiliate link so that anyone who had the off chance of being interested in buying anything that I was putting in this PC could buy it and I could benefit from it personally. You know, I would take those PC builds out. I would put it on the r/build-a-PC subreddit. So that way everybody on r/build-a-PC suddenly knows like, oh, Power GPU is that guy. He's the dude that I watch build PCs. Maybe he could build my PC, or I could call in and ask him a question. You could set up a Building a PC podcast that you do live on your stream while you're building other PCs, because at this point you are just legitimately so good at building PCs that you have this background knowledge that you can do it in a mindless way. So you can be building the PC, answering PC questions, and now you have a podcast, you have YouTube videos, and you have a live stream that you're promoting in organic environments where people are naturally interested in the things that you're doing. So, like, there are so many different ways that you could take your content that you're doing right now and repopulate it into something that is a better structure for you to make income off of, right? Because that also sounds like it's an issue for you right now, is you're putting a lot out and you're not being able to get enough back in. And I don't feel like you're at the point where monetization on your content is gonna hurt you and diminish your community based off the people that I see in the chat room and the amount of respect that people who are just now hearing you talk for the first time while they're listening have for what you're doing. I don't think that it would come off weird. You're not like the kid who streamed one time and he's like, hey, fucking support me. You know, you've got a dedicated fan base and you've been working really hard. You know, there's just so much that you can do. I don't want to see you burn out. I think you need to get smarter about how you're distributing all of your content so you can keep doing that because you love it. And I think you need it to stay integrated into the communities where you've built your businesses. I completely agree with that concept and like the reality of it. But I think that like you came out and you asked the question, and what I heard when you asked was, I need to change. What do I do? So that is what literally, if I was in your shoes, that's what I would be doing. You could take your 80-hour work week and you can put it into 40 hours and still make everything happen. It'll take like a little bit of investment time over the next month to learn how to like do your podcast, streamline your workflow so you can post all of your stuff everywhere. Like that'll be a little bit uncomfortable. But once that learning phase is done, you'll be so much better at executing on what you're doing that you're going to feel like your output has increased like 200%.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'll definitely restructure then.
Please do. Like, please. The so many people are that have like an entrepreneurial drive, right? Like myself, like you, like a lot of people that we talk to on the podcast, they have this drive, and it's that drive that made you take all of these risks, right? You know, but for some reason, once there is progress or success, people start getting so risk adverse, like, oh, I can't take any more chances because then what if I fuck it all up?
Yeah,
listen. That is how you fuck it up, not taking risks anymore, which are the things that literally handed you whatever you have right now. That's how you fuck it up. The second you stop taking risks to try and improve, you stagnate or you die.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that happen many times with other streamers.
I've watched it happen to all of the content that I've made a couple of times, and I managed to pull it out twice. So I know, like, you are in such a good place right now to come out and just crush what you're doing on Twitch. There are a lot of other people that are really trying to develop this support structure. Have you been listening to the other podcasts?
Actually, that's the thing. This is actually this is my first time tuning in, and
sure. So
I've
I want you to go back,
listen to it,
and chat will help you find this. There have been two guys that I've talked to on the podcast that want to do what is essentially a help desk for content creators and turn that into a business. They want to do the software side, the audio side, and you could legitimately do all of the hardware stuff. If you were looking at other people to go into business with that have the same entrepreneurial drive and focus that you have, and the desire to help become part of the support structure for content creators, you're right there. Like, they're all on your same wavelength. And I feel like having one of them, his name on Twitch is Grindhead Jim. I feel like you guys could get together and really make something super special. And not only would that be amazing, and then suddenly everybody's got this great thing, but it would help take a lot of the things that are on your plate right now, maybe off your plate.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely. That definitely makes a lot of sense.
I want nothing but to hear you, like, in like a year, talk about how successful you're doing and stuff. But you've got to make a couple of changes. Otherwise, things are going to bottom out for you. And I don't want to see that happen.
I appreciate that. I really do. It means a lot.
Thanks, man. Do you have any follow-ups for me?
Just one quick one.
Yeah.
We got to explode one day.
Yeah, man. I would love to play some video games together. That sounds great.
It's been a while. It's been since.
It's been a while. It's definitely been a while, man. Everybody's busy. You're incredibly busy. I tell you what, we'll set up a date to start playing games, and let's do that after you figure out how to streamline your workflow.
All right, perfect.
It'll be like fucking homework. Haha.
Yep, that's my homework then. I'll definitely get it. I'll definitely start it tonight.
Oh my god, I love it, man. And again, if you've got any like execution points or whatever about what we talked about, or you want to follow up, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. You've got a great thing going, and I want to continue to help you figure it out.
Yeah, I got you. I got you on there for sure. Thank you so much.
Awesome, man. You have a good day.
All right, Ben. You too.
See ya. Oh my gosh. It's a good plan. Oh man, it's really awesome to hear from other folks that are really driven to like make shit happen. But I think all of us, whether it's Twitch or starting your own business or name a fucking thing, like if you have a business that's based around, taking risks and innovating, and you suddenly stop taking risks and innovating, it starts to hurt your bottom line and it starts to wear you down. And then you get entrenched mentally into thinking that you can't make any changes because the thing that was working before suddenly isn't. So you have to keep doing that one thing until it's successful again and then move on. It doesn't work that way. You've got to keep pushing forward. Yeah. Complacency it's a killer. You can't get comfy and think you've got it all. You got it all figured out. That's the step one in like big long-term losing is just getting to a place where you're like, I don't need to do anything new. I'm fine just the way I am. which is great. I mean, like, there's a lot of value in that. It's like these polar opposites, and you have to learn how to balance those two things to push yourself forward. I'm excited to see, I want Power GPU and Grindhead Jim and the other guy whose name I forget to get together and make like a content creator help desk that's just like this juggernaut of of shit that people actually need, and folks know like this is where you need to go to get your shit sorted out, because it's so important to help other people. It's so very, very important. And when I hear something like I have 400 people, 400 clients, whatever you want to say, that I help out, I've helped do this, and I'm still doing tech support for all of them, and it's one human being, that's fucking killer. That man needs some help. So please, if you're listening to this right now, the person we were just talking to, his name is Power GPU. You can find him, Power GPU, on Twitter, on Twitch. If you liked what he had to say and you want to offer some help to that man and his family, hit him up on Twitter. Be like, hey, I listened to the Broman podcast. I want to help you out. And maybe he'll get a support structure around him, because I want to see him win. Man, what a good day. That's going to do it for the Broman podcast, though, today, guys, for Ask Broman and gals. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope you all had an incredible time. One fine note for all of you who are out there listening. King's Coast Coffee, which is my coffee company that I own with my buds. Our final shipping date for U.S. shipping is December 17th. So if you're listening to that, if you're listening to this tomorrow, you'll probably have 24 hours for that. And then also between the 20th and the 27th of December, we will not be doing any shipping. We're giving our logistics guys a break. They've been going at a breakneck speed since launch, and they need some time with their families. We'll still be taking orders, but all those orders will be shipping out on the 28th, 29th going forward for that. So thank you all for watching or listening. If you are listening out there on any of our podcast platforms, whether it's Stitcher or iTunes or Google Play or Anchor or any of that stuff, make sure you hit the subscribe button and come back, share it with some friends, and listen again later. Thank you and peace.